Good morning, my friends. What's happening? Welcome back. How are you guys doing today? Welcome back. Good to see you all. Welcome to episode number 72. Am I live? Just checking. Yes. All right. Okay. Let me see the chat real quick. Is the chat working or not? Where's my chat? Where's my chat? Where's my chat? Where's my chat? Where is my chat? Yo, what's happening, Bradley? Well, how are you doing, man? Amjad, good to see you. Cliff, what's popping? Gonzalo, Pradeep, how are you doing, man? Blue, Evil, Joke, what's happening, my friend? Royal, yes, sir. Tommy, good morning. Adi, what's happening? NumFX, good to see you. Yes, sir. Hope you're doing well, my friend. John, welcome back. Victor, welcome back. Alfredo, also back. Good to see you, man. All right, beautiful. Yeah, let's talk market. Gold is coming down a little bit here. We have a lot of opportunities today. I think a lot of pullback opportunities as well. If gold goes, it goes. But still, we have some really nice scenarios here. Gold can drop kind of hard today, in my opinion. We're going to talk about everything. And yeah, I'm looking forward to go over it because it's going to be an interesting one today. All right, we had a smack of a pullback yesterday. We still managed to make money yesterday. If you follow my Telegram, you will be fully updated. But anyways, we'll talk about everything and then we'll go from there. Let's put in a little tune. I will mark out some of my charts and then we'll get started. All right, let's get the party started from there. Yeah? Good to see you all, man. Have a wonderful, wonderful day or night, whatever it is. Good to see you all. Welcome back. Yes, sir. Okay. Good morning, my friends. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys had a good night. For me, at least, I had a great night. I'm just waking up very nicely. You guys are probably going to bed right now, or very, very soon. Anyways, I love the support. Thank you for everything. I really love the streams. One of my favorite things to do right away when I wake up. Boom, straight up to the streams. Love it. Anyways, we have a lot of news today later. The ADP non-farm employment, the ISM manufacturing, the PMI. So we have some news coming, and tomorrow is the big day. Okay, keep in mind, tomorrow is the non-farm payrolls. That's going to be crucial. Anyways, gold coming down right now. Look at gold at the moment. This is why things are so interesting and why rushing is not really needed. Because of the following reason. Okay, we are now tapping or breaking outside, sorry, the value area of yesterday. Do you see that? We're breaking out of the value area of yesterday. Look at that. This is the value area high and this is the value area low. And we're breaking out of the value area of yesterday. Okay, love that. Just so you understand that. This is the value area low. This is the value area high. We're breaking out the value area of yesterday right now with the open today. Okay, so you mark out the volume profile from the open to the close of yesterday. And then you can see that the highlighted zone is the value area. That's this zone. Now we broke out of that. Okay, so now we can look for shorts. Yes, sir. We can look for shorts right there. If you look at the order flow as well, you can actually very, very clearly that also on the daily time frame. Where was the most volume traded? It was traded above. Where did the candle close? It closed below. So the bias is bearish. Very straightforward actually. Close below the most volume of yesterday and the day before that, right? That's it. So yes, we had a quick pullback. Yes, we took out the lows and we came back up. We're going to talk about yesterday as well and about the trades that I took and you know how things went, etc. on the monthly closure. But the current situation is as follows: that we're trading below those levels, and therefore I'm still more inclined to look for sells rather than buys, to be honest, for that exact reason. Okay. Anyways, we'll go deeper into that in a second. Right now, the previous daily value area low is at 399992. 3992. Yes, 3992. If I'm not mistaken, 3992. Yes, something like that here. And I think we have a really good zone if we can come back already. I think this zone in general is a really, really good area right here to pay attention to, right? It's just this zone right there. It's just going to be really, it's going to be really nice zone to look at, okay? This area right here is going to be an area where we need to pay attention to already. The previous daily value low is always going to be a level that we have to watch. So I was already thinking about pulling back, if we pull back, right? But that would be the best setup, right? And then going down again, looking for some setup down again. And pretty much a continuation play back towards the lows right now, or something in that matter, okay? So let's see if Asia does that, okay? I hope so, because this will be very, very nice. The retest of the value area low in general is nice. It's one of the best setups in my opinion. It's where you break out of a major zone on the daily. And that's the value area of yesterday, where the most volume traded. There was acceptance inside of this. Now there is no acceptance. Now we're leaving that. I'm looking for fair value. Most likely taking out what? The liquidity below? It could easily be. So we're going to pay a lot of attention to any form of retracement for sell-offs. That's it. You guys know I love those sell limits anyways, the most. So let's see if we can actually do that right there. But this will be a major selling zone right there. It will be as our foundation, right? The 9092, okay? The 3992 is that selling zone that I will be watching. And then if we continue to drop, we need to go to the lower time frame. We need to just trade with the trend and things like that. But that's a different story. We'll talk about it in a second right there. But this is at least the zone that we have to mark out already. Because that is a level that I think is going to be, you know, it's going to be important to mention already, to mark out in case we do get back to the previous daily very low. Right around there. Okay? Yes. So what happened yesterday? Yeah. Man. Talk about yesterday, right? Well, number one, I tried to short the bottom. And we did almost succeeded. Right? We broke even on that setup. We were up around a couple $100 and then price came back down to our entry. We knew we had to aggressively manage that position from the beginning, right? We knew that we have to be careful because price could act a bit strange, right? How many times do you see the break? Even though when you sweep these lows, how many times does it continue to drop? We have seen it so many times as well here. Then we came to the 92. That was this area. That was our first selling zone that we marked out on the streams as well. Let me see. That was that first selling zone that we marked out right there. That was yesterday's stream. Yes, yesterday's stream. Let me actually find this right there. Yeah. That was this zone right there. Okay, that became our selling zone, our first selling zone, I think. That area right around there. Okay, the 3992 as well. So we shorted it, of course, on stream. You guys all know what happened here. We broke even on that setup here. And then we had a selling zone at the 92. This is why I think Telegram is super key to sometimes check into, right? Because I talked about it right here in the Telegram as well. I said, yo guys, what's up? What's popping? I said, after our break-even trade today, it was worth a try. I'm trying to get into another short right now. This is the first zone we marked out on stream before, and I already talked about it when doing our analysis. That's a zone right there, okay? So I took our short right there. Stop loss went to break even quite quickly because we had a rejection. And then I took profits at TP1 right there. And then after TP1 right there, we kept holding that support. I said, you know, it's better to put your stop loss and break even here and take profits right now. It is important. And then we took, got the taken out on break even on the rest of the trade. So after TP1, we got back to our entry, and then gold flew to the upside pretty much, okay? So what is the conclusion there? What is the lesson there? The lesson is that I will not be 100% always freaking accurate with every direction, and that you cannot really control that. But what you can control is how you manage the trade. And what you can control is how you set the right expectations for the market, okay? At the right moment in time. That is what you can control. So even if you are wrong about the big move, there are opportunities inside of those moves which allow you to still capitalize, okay? But you can kind of always expect certain days where price does not always want to go your way. Yesterday was one of those days for me. Yesterday was the reason was because the monthly candle closure and the contract rollover, right? So we had already like the expectation it will be a bit messy in advance. So I'm gonna treat it differently than I would treat it usually, okay? So management is one layer. Don't be obsessed with always the outcome of the direction of market if you can also make money in a market where, you know, you trade sometimes against the actual move, which is completely fine if you manage it accordingly, okay? Overall, I grew a 6.5 or 7K account to over a $15,000 account right now. I'm testing it on a smaller challenge. I always say these shorter, smaller account challenges keep me sharp. They keep me grounded. And one of the big things that I've been doing is I've been working a lot on knowing exactly when to let winners breathe and when market conditions call for caution, okay? So I'm always taking profits in ranging markets or counter trends, and I'm hunting for those runners when there is clean momentum, right? That is the whole point of it. So anyways, I share everything in the Telegram right here. You know, we're still up, we're still running, and everything is going really well. So June was actually an incredible month in general across all my accounts and everything. It has been a great month so far. So let's see if July will pick up, okay? And if July will follow up with that. And if July will also be another beautiful month in the summer times, right? I'm really looking forward to see that right here. Last but not least, man, I want to give like a big freaking shout out to my guys because they are doing their absolute best now. They've been working with it. And man, these freaking dudes are crushing. Man, Skinny, man, you're Dan, the man. Again. Pascal, nice, amazing. Whoop, very good, very good, very good, very good. Took this short from the previous daily POC. Oh, that was yesterday. Oh, very nice. Tariq took that long, but wasn't patient on the trade. Yeah, man. A big shout out to Tariq. A big shout out to Kwasem. Who else do we have? We have, of course, Pascal. We have Sony. Just got funded as well. We have Dan, the man. We've been with us. We've been with me for a long time. And he's been seeing some big improvements. So yeah, I'm proud of you guys, man. Amazing stuff. Love to hear that. Love to hear that. Okay. Let's see if Dubai will be here. Dubai. Why do I say Dubai? July will be crushing it. Why did I say Dubai? July will be crushing. Yeah. Not Dubai, July, yeah? All right, perfect. That's it, that's it. Yeah, that's another layer that we saw yesterday. Look at where price eventually came to, right? That was another really interesting thing here. Look at this on the day before that. Look at the point of control of the day before. So last night, you could say the New York session actually, how we tapped into the previous daily point of control. All right, look at that. And how price respected the previous daily point of control and how that was the top of the top of the top of the top at 62. And that was the moment when everything came down again. Yes. That 62 level, this is how you can use the volume profile. So if you want to learn about the volume profile, download my free book, okay? It is in the description right there. I talk about it every day because I think it's important for new people that watch the streams that they actually do that and actually understand why I mark out those levels, because this is the whole thing. The strategy is based on the levels, okay? A lot of them. So you can actually see that right here in my book where we talk about those levels. In this case, it was the daily volume profile and the previous daily point of control. You can learn about this in my book. It's in the description right there and it's free for you to learn about, okay? It's a free book. It's a big book, a very big book, but it's a free book. So take advantage of it, okay? Anyways, 92, man. Yeah, let's see if we can get a little pullback. For now, we're holding some support here. I think that's because of this zone on the hourly. Yes. Pretty clean. Yeah, this is a major resistance. Major resistance right now. This will be tough to break. And this is why I'm bearish for today, because it will be really, or for this session as well, in the next session, it will be really tough to break this area. Very tough, because there is so much volume traded 3 times in a row here. We had it here, we had it here, we had it here, and somehow that closure below in the downtrend is not a good sign for gold again. It's just not a good sign. So yesterday we had that sweep up, but it's just not a good sign that we break back below that area again, in my opinion. It is actually not a good sign at all. The dollar is holding up really well. It's holding up in the daily demand zone that we talked about already. We're holding that support again. This bottom was the top for gold. We're reacting. And today we had an opening gap again, right there, right? So we had an opening gap right in May. And it's the first of the month, of course. So yeah, man, it's the monthly gap, I guess, that we're creating here. The monthly candle has opened as well for gold. Yeah, let's see what happens, right? I'm very curious to see how this monthly candle develops. Very curious to see how this goes. But yeah, anyways, dollar is definitely still holding that major support. I will be talking more from a macro perspective later on gold, on the dollar as well, because there are some interesting things happening, and specifically around this currency right here, the dollar yen. Look at that major sweep. Look at these major wicks. There's something happening around the dollar yen. We're now operating at 162. That's extremely high. Okay, that is the high of the high of the high of the high, and the Bank of Japan, the Japanese, don't like that. They don't like that. They don't like that the yen is getting crushed until a point right now where it's getting too much. And they have to do something about it. So, you know, but not yet. Not yet. We're still looking relatively strong right now on the dollar. Now we're holding a bit of support here right now. Yes, we are, because we're undervalued as well. We have been a little bit undervalued here. On the 15, not yet. Well, let's see. Where would you short it? I would short it around the 92, and then I would yeah, target the lows. If you could get back, that would be beautiful. 49585 is the last week's PSC. That's where we're stuck here. Are we? Are we stuck because of that? It could be. It could be. It could be. Yes, that's true. That is true. Yeah, the thing is the point of control there has been taken out so many times already. So it's like, it's just, yeah, we see those reactions, but I'm not really willing to take a trade from that level. Yeah, we're looking at the very low today. The value area low. Actually, it's 90.93, by the way. 39.93. Hey, Lorenzo, do you think if gold breaks to 4,000, it would invalidate sells? I don't know, man. The thing about this is right now, look at this resistance right here. It starts at the 4015 or something like that, and it's major resistance. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be very tough. It's gonna be very tough to break this right now. All right, it's gonna be very, very tough to break. We had this rejection again yesterday. We had these trap buyers at the top right there. There's a lot of buying at the top. Of course there is, because people like to buy the breakouts, but then they fail to break out, and then price is reversing, and then they're stuck in their trades. For this one right here, this is the center of the center. This is where really the most volume has been traded. So even if we would say long above this area, because it could be that if you break back above this zone, that you will make the move back up, but around here we'll have major resistance right here. Major resistance. And that will be really tough. That will be really tough to break. Yeah. Yeah. Can we hold there? Can we pull back? That's the question. I hope we can. Yeah, we're just trading the value area. This is the value area. This setup is called the value area breakout trade. You break out of the value area of the previous day. You target the lows, and you retest the value area low. Yeah, you retest the value area low, and the dollar is at support. The dollar is pushing, and we're trying to target those levels below the lows. All right. That is kind of the setup for today. And that's kind of backed by the way we have been orchestrating this on the order flow as well. Yeah, it's definitely looking on the bearish side right there. We broke below the VWAP. We're going to close this hourly candle in 26 minutes as well. So it's tough to shoot too long here. My opinion, very tough to long here. The risk is that we don't pull back towards our selling zone, which is the very low. Because that drop, I'm not sure if I would have taken a drop entry personally. Maybe this one, maybe the closure below, but maybe that one I would have taken. But for the rest, I think it's a good setup right there. Why are so many buyers there? Because we're holding local support right now. Why we're at support as well here. Yeah. Do you think it's gonna go up? No, I think it's gonna go down. That's my goal, right? My goal is bearish biased, right? Lorenzo, why do my very low and very high difference, or your very low difference? I don't know. Maybe you're looking on the Owanda. What broker are you looking at? Why did it pop in the London session? That's a good question, man. Yesterday we had that huge push, right? Right here. And I'm very happy that I managed to trade her aggressively. I knew I had to do this way. I knew I had to get in, take profits, and put my stops immediately on break even there. I somehow had a feeling that yesterday would have been something different. And that the market, we had to take profits at the right moment. Otherwise, price would have absolutely, it would have been risky to stay in the trade and hope that we would continue to drop. We saw the dollar dropping really hard, right? And the yen was probably the main cause of that, correct? I think yesterday the main cause was the Japanese yen, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look at the yen here. I think it was at the same moment. Yeah, look at that. Was it here? Tuesday. I'm not 100% sure if this was yesterday. Yeah, it was for sure here. No? I think it was this move right there. Yeah. And then look at the open of New York. Yeah, there's something happening around the yen right now. You have to pay attention to this. We might see some volatility coming in. But anyways, we took out the lows. We came back up to the previous daily PUC, and then we sold off again. And this, I cannot long this. Yeah. I cannot long this. Lorenzo, have you seen Holland? Netherlands, Morocco? Yeah, I've seen it. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Shit. Now we have a lot of Moroccans in my country, you know, so you have to support them too. But it was just it was so unfortunate, man. It was so unfortunate. That's all I can say. It's just an unfortunate penalty series and stuff. But I have to be honest, Morocco was better. They played better. They were better. That's it. No excuses. They were the better players regardless. They should have won anyways, in my opinion. But yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Orderflow. Let's see if we have some... yeah, we have some buyers stepping in here, but they're failing. Look at all that buying, but they're failing. That's bearish. You don't want to be part of the buyers that are failing. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be part of that series right now at the moment. Yeah. And it will be tough. Even here, I think you're going to find a lot of resistance there too. That's our zone. That's a selling zone. But yeah, we have to pay attention. I'm afraid I have to zoom in. Look at the swing of the swing internally. Because we all know if gold drops again and breaks is low, we'll most likely will continue to drive here. But there's so many instances, guys, and I have to be really honest with you too, where eventually price pulls back to that selling zone when you think, oh, it's not going to pull back anymore. And then boop, it comes back later on. And it drops and it hits it and it still goes. No. How do you identify zones with the value area low like that? You did here. You did pretty much this zone. You take the very high and low. Take the previous daily range, and then you look at also the low volume nodes inside of that. You see that? Until there, roughly speaking, and that's kind of until there. That's kind of the zone that I'm watching, right? So this is the range, and then the very low. That's like a really good zone because it's gonna be very tough to break this area. It'll be very hard to break. And there's a lot of reason for it to just take out all those lows here as well and just to trade down. But let's see. Let's see, man. We're gonna make July another amazing month of trading. June was an amazing month for myself. We have been, we're in a pretty good winning streak, even in bad days. If we consider yesterday a bad day where I was shorting and then price shoot up, I still made money. So, you know, that's in my opinion good trading. It's when you are able to do that. You're able to still manage. Because I will never be always correct about my prediction, especially not with you know, monthly candle closures and things like that, you know. Ariel, if we have a bearish buy, should we consider about the dollar gap being to the downside? The thing is, there is also, I'm always thinking from this perspective, there's a reason why the dollar gap's open in the first place. You know that? There's always a reason why it gaps open. So that usually implies also strength. Now, at some point, gaps do get filled. But look, this was a gap that was created, right? This took the New York session to take out. You know what I mean? Like, it took a long time. So we don't necessarily have to say, oh, we have to be worried for the gap, because, you know, it could take a day, it could take 2 days, it could take a whole week. It maybe not get taken out, right? So I don't really like to think too much about, oh, there's a gap there and they're gonna fill that gap, because you never really know when that happens. And before you know it, I miss out on 4 or 5 setups, for example. You know? So let's see. Okay, take a look at silver. Wow, I haven't looked at silver in a while, to be really honest with you. We'll do the same thing. We mark out the previous day. Yes, it's the same thing. Same thing. Previous daily very low is sitting at 58.75. Very simple today, actually. We do have a really nice gap here, though. That's actually a beautiful gap here. Very nice. Wow. Yeah, for silver, if you really want to be precise, you can actually trade it from there, but you need to get a breakdown. If you start struggling at the very low, I would say, okay, try. If price shoots up, then this is still a major zone. If that gets broken, the point of control is next. You have level, you can take level after level after level. If this gets broken and you take out the point of control, yeah, then whoop, we're gonna go for the highs, right? Probably. I mean, it will be very tough to trade in this area. It's a much better condition right now, right? This is gonna be the best condition you can imagine, actually. The value area low and high. You're breaking out of the value area. You take advantage of the breakout in any retracement and you look for the continuation. That's just the best way. For Bitcoin, weekly is Bitcoin has been ranging a little bit too much. So Bitcoin is in the range. Tough range to trade, not gonna lie. Tough range to trade it. I think that the point of control is the first major zone of interest right there. I would really watch the 59.526 and the 59.7, because from there onwards, if you break that, then this is the next target. And right now we're clearly holding that support here, right? So you have these two like major zones right there. You have this area, you have the middle zone, and you have then this area. Any closure will lead probably towards what? A potential push down. So you have those extremes, and always trade these extremes. This is an extreme scenario where you take out the lows and you break higher. That could lead towards a push higher. So take the range, take the point of control here, and look for longs at like 58.654 at the point of control right there. That's the trade I would take, actually, pretty much on Bitcoin. Interesting. In a range, range trading is cool. All right, we're making a pullback, right? We're making a little bit of a pullback here. Yeah. So yesterday, a lot of people said, why didn't you buy? There are just, it's so true. There's so many instances where you break the lows and then you pull back. But there are also instances, if you go back further, that you break the lows and you sell like a rocket to the downside. And we have some major support below, lower. And yeah, man, we tried. Yesterday we were in the trade. We could have taken profits actually on stream. But yeah, I was aiming for something a little bit bigger. Maybe I was a bit too greedy at the bottom. But then when we pulled back, I did decide to take profits. That was the right decision. And yes, we want to go to push higher now. That's true. You're right. You're right. You're right. Any zone for buy? I'm not really interested in buying now. Today. Maybe later. Maybe later. Maybe later. But not in the session. I think not in London session either. Do you also swing trade or only day trade? For now, I only day trade right here, right? If I gonna see an opportunity on gold where I believe that this might be the actual bottom, the bottom of the barrel, then I'm considering going to futures and holding on to swing trades. Why futures? Because you can hold on to swing trades very cheaply. You don't pay swap fees. You don't have to deal with all that nonsense. You go to the futures market, you press buy, you hold that contract, and you just keep trading that contract. But yeah, we're definitely getting close to like a process right now. But it seems that we're not there yet. In my opinion, it's gonna be. This is a tricky support, by the way, on higher time frame for gold. It's very, very tricky here. If this loses its momentum and we break down again, man, that's a tough spot for gold still, with the dollar being strong. Big Rico, I banked a good trade with you yesterday, Lorenzo. Thank you. Okay, wow, good. Amazing. Did you manage it the way I managed it at all yesterday or not? Let me know. How did you manage the trade? In a loss, what is the best exit strategy? Took a buy at 4,037. Ooh, okay, right here, right? Okay, you bought it there. Okay. How much is that? Poof. Yeah, there are a couple things you can do. You can cut it in a pullback, right? It depends how much margin you have. It's a tough. I have to admit, it's a tough position, my friend, to be in right now. It's a tough spot. It's a tough spot. If price breaks down and you do create a pushback, you can buy at the bottom of the sweep and then look to close when price retraces. But that's a guess. That's a gamble. You don't know for sure, right? I have done that in the past too. When I started, where you know, I did take that. I do things like that too. Sometimes when I'm swing trading as well, when I'm wrong and I'm DCAing in and out, like I do that too sometimes, right? I buy later at a major support again. So let's say I'm a swing trader, I want to hold and I anticipate gold to go much higher. And I was wrong and price comes much lower, but I know I have the margin for it. I will wait for that major next support and I will buy at major next support and then I'll see the retracement and then I see, is it worth to stay in or not? And then I close my position in full and then price could continue to drive lower. Or I'm like, yeah, I like this average position now. I'm just gonna hold it and then we're gonna go up. But it's very calculated and it's very thinking in advance, right? In terms of like, okay, if I'm wrong, then at least I know what I'm gonna do then. Plan B, right? So I have a plan B. if you're stuck in the trade and you're looking for the exit strategy, it's tough. It's very tough because you don't know if price continues to drop, because then you're even in more trouble. The most responsible advice is cut your losses as soon as possible. And don't wait and don't hope. Why? Because you can look for the next setup, get into a nice short and short the shit out of it and make your money back in the next trade. You know? But best thing is to just cut it, man. That's usually the amount of times, you have no idea the amount of times I held onto a position, okay, that I knew was a losing position. I knew it. And the amount of times that I could not close it and I held onto it, and the amount of times that I then eventually closed it for a bigger loss is just ridiculous in the past. And that's not even the worst case. The worst scenario is actually that you don't just like, you don't even lose more money. You could make more money and find better opportunities after you just cut your trade. The amount of trades that you see inside of you, but you cannot take a trade because you're stuck in a trade. So you cannot take another trade. That's actually a good trade. And then you're stuck in a trade and you cannot take another trade. It's just a messed up situation. So the best thing is just to cut your losses, accept it and move on. Yeah. It's a painful lesson I think you have to go through as a trader too, though, to realize that, because it's not just like a loss of money, it's also a loss of opportunity. You lose opportunities too if you're in position, because if you're stuck, usually you don't want to take another trade. But it's hard to accept losses, I know, man. It is hard, it's hard. It was hard. Now it's not hard anymore, but when I started, it was very hard. I always wanted to be right. Yeah. Did Trump and Iran even sign anything? Nope. Anything, to be honest, that I've heard about the Iran right now since the Asian market has been kind of like irrelevant right now. You know what I mean? Like trading the Asian session is kind of like not even thinking too much about this whole stuff right now at the moment. Whereas in the New York session, I was looking every minute at the news, as any news release, to see if something came out which affected gold or the dollar or oil. But from a market perspective, the dollar looks still super strong. We cannot neglect that right now. And I think it's just going to be a build-up for hopefully a huge pullback later on. Yeah, a huge pullback later on. Gold, dollar is in a major zone. Look at the major zone in the dollar right now. It's a super important weekly level here. You see that? Super key, critical level, absolutely critical. Yeah. Look at that. This on the weekly right there. Just a major area. Turning it into resistance right here. So yeah, the dollar is in a major area right now. And if the dollar closes above that, it's not a good look for gold. Not a good look. Isabella, if you have to cut it, even if it's a big loss is still better than blowing up your account. Yeah. That's for sure. That's for sure. So if you took buys at 37, what will be your stop loss? I mean, my stop loss will be now. Because this doesn't look good. Okay? And if price, even if price goes lower, yeah. Like, you don't know if price will just hold here after it takes out the lows. And it's just gonna do this again. You don't know that. And now you're already here. So imagine if it has to go down and then it has to go there. Then you're still at the same position where you are now. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You can wait for price to pull back. But this is up to you, man. I'm not here to decide for you what you need to do, of course, right? If you entered at 37, then your stop should have been like, I don't know, at that time. I'm not sure what time you actually entered. Hi Lorenzo, I'm not dealing with heavy losses and trying to recover my money. What's your advice to recover properly? I've kind of a problem with revenge trading. Stop revenge trading. That's my advice to you. That's it. Yeah, you said it yourself. That is the cost, right? Probably. Because that probably shows that you're already kind of making money, right? That's the assumption that I have, that you're making money, but then when you have a losing trade, like everything blows up. And it's just the biggest issue right there is that revenge trading. It's a big thing. Yeah, it has nothing to do with your strategy, your system and stuff. What can help is that you set really clear guidelines, right? On how to deal with certain market conditions. Yeah, this is for me, and I sent an email about this yesterday to you guys. If you guys watch my emails, if you read them, if you like them. But I sent an email out yesterday, and I literally said, yesterday I said, you know, there is a difference between understanding a trading system, okay, which is your strategy, etc., right? Your strategy and your rules and all that stuff, right? And the market condition that applies to that system, right? To that strategy. Market conditions can change like a dime, right? You go from a trending market where the market is trending nicely, right? It's doing nicely. It's like nice to trade. Everything is easy, right? Money comes your way. You get comfortable, and then the market goes from that. It goes up, and it starts to do what? It starts to hold the range. And it starts to range, but it's not breaking out, and it starts to go into a ranging in a sideways market. We call it a balanced market, right? And then you made all that money in that range, in that trending market, but then you lose all that money in that ranging market, right? And this doesn't always happen on the macro, on the higher time frame. It also happens on a daily basis. So, for example, this is a ranging market, right? And this is where we started to trend, for example, right? So things like that is you need to be able to adapt just like that. You need to be able to just, boom, immediately find ways to understand when we're no longer trending, understand when we're no longer in a range and when we leave a range, right? I personally use the volume profile for that. The volume profile has been helping me tremendously with understanding that clearly, right? Setting those levels out very, very quickly. But understanding these conditions is super important because that allows you to adapt, okay? If you are a robot, if you are a trading bot that just trades a system, a strategy, like an ORB strategy, whatever the case may be, right? Then it doesn't matter. because these bots don't care about winning a lot. They care about positive EV. They care about the equity curve. They care about, am I making money by the end of this year? Right? Am I positive by the end of the year? That's what they care about. So they win. And then they lose for 2 months because the market conditions changed. And then they win. And then they lose for 2 months. And then they win, right? But their equity curve is bullish, is up. If we lose for 2 months straight, as human beings, we go crazy. We would go nuts. We start doubting ourselves. We start losing our confidence. We start to doubt if our strategy works, our system works. So you need an adaptable approach to the market condition and not just to your strategy. You need to adapt within your system, okay? So the way my system is developed is a way where I'm allowing myself to be as adaptable as possible to each condition and to quickly recognize market shifts in the market. That's what my strategy is built on. And I use core frameworks that do not have a conflict of interest, like higher time frame supply in a month, order flow, volume profile, lower time frame, right? If I combine that, there's no conflict of interest. I can spot market changes quickly and I go straight to the source instead of a specific system, right? If this happens, then I do that. Or if that happens and we take out the Asian high, then I'm always going to target the Asian lows. No. Who knows what's going to happen, right? So I thought when I started trading, it was all about that one big amazing strategy, which it is. But what's even better on top of a winning strategy is you as a trader being as adaptable as possible to the condition and to quickly recognize that. Because you might be making money here, but you lose all your money here. Then you wasted the whole day, right? All right, I think we're breaking again, so I think we have to restructure it now. Let's see. Like I said, if you would re-break those lows, then we have to realign. I'm still keeping this open, guys. By the way, if later on the session, price pulls back to the 90, 93 area, I recommend you still watch that level, okay? Because what happens is that sometimes price pulls back later on, and then people already forgot about it. But it's a level that I've marked out, and I think it will be an important level regardless, even if you pull back later. So I just want to say that. Just make sure that you mark out that level in case we pull back, okay? But in the meantime, let me mark out another zone because I think the dollar looks pretty strong. Let's look at the dollar real quick. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we have to be patient. Maybe we have to be patient. Go. Aber says solution, a simple process. Yeah. I usually have I have difficulties with the word simple because there are different ways you can understand simplicity in the market. There is one way to understand simplicity from a perspective of simple means lazy, right? Simple is not lazy. Simple is not I do as less as possible and I expect to become profitable. That is not simple, okay? Simple is you put in so much work and effort into defining your ads that you are able to simplify and simply recognize your setup immediately. That is what I call simplicity or simple trading, right? Is to be able to know all the data, to have everything backed up, and then be able to simplify that into a simple framework. But simple does not refer to lazy. And most people, when they think, oh, you need just a simple strategy, they think about, I just don't have to put in the work. Because you have to put in the work. Yeah. So, sir, it means that there is no simple strategy. I think that my strategy is simple, right? I believe that my strategy is simple. But like, what is simple for me might not be simple for someone else, right? But for me, that strategy is relatively simple. Right? It's not that I have difficulties every day, that I'm struggling and it's very complicated. No, for me, it's pretty simple. But I have been putting in the work, you know, to achieve that, hopefully. And I'm still getting better, to be honest. I'm still improving every day. I'm still trying to become better. And what I'm gonna work on in July is this. Again, same thing, is to just be really aware and set the right expectations for the market every day, and be really aware of how I manage my trades. Like, that's almost something that I can endlessly work on, endlessly get better at, is managing my trades better. Yeah. But in terms of like entry zones, or, you know, stop losses, or my session bias, picking my bias for the session, that's no longer the issue for me. Not really facing any difficulties with this at all. What I want to work on continuously is to just manage my trades better. This is my goal for July too. Yeah, I've done this in June. I want to do this in July, and this is going to be my main core focus right now. Is just making sure that the management of the trades are good. And yeah, it's hard to perfection. Dollar can't break the resistance. Yeah, I saw that, but the gold looked so weak at the same time. What happens a lot is that then if the Asian session is just going to bleed, then London will most likely will do the pullback. The pre-London will make the pullback. And then we'll get into the trade of pre-London. What do you think about the summer months? June is one of the worst months for gold. Summer vacations, holiday, profit taking. It's crazy because I had the best month of the year in June. Yeah, so it's pretty good actually. What I do believe about the summer right now, I believe that if you are trading right now and you're sitting behind the computer right now and you're watching the stream, number one, I have a lot of respect for you because it's July. And you know what's going to happen in July? In the summer months, especially to the Europeans, right? They're going to go out, they're going to sit on the terrace, and they forget about life, about the reality of life, because it's the summer months. The reality of life comes back in September. And they have to go back to work. That is the reality life, right? That's the September, October month. And then they work until what? May, June, July, right? And the fact that you guys are watching here in the summer months, I think is a lot of I have a lot of respect for that because I just think that this is the moment where you prepare. This is the moment where you get better. Because the opportunities are going to be at the end of the year. The big opportunities are going to come always. And I say always, in the last 5-6 years in gold, Q4, right? Q3, at the end of Q3, Q4. Gold always gives massive opportunities. You want to perfection your skills in the summer months. You want to get ready. You want to become better. You want to do this now before that happens. You want to get ready. You want to prepare. So if you're now putting in the work during these months, you are doing something right. You are doing something correct. And I think it's a necessity to prepare in the summer for what's coming. If you take this really serious and want to turn this into what an income or a side income or something that could benefit you or support you, then there is no time to take a break right now. There is no time to take some time off. No. I'm not gonna take a break this summer. Okay, maybe 1 week. Maybe. But that's it. Hello, Lorenzo, I need advice. So in June, I started so strong. Wonderful month. Up till the 25th, I got my account to break even and even turned profitable. Then towards the end of June, I blew it all up. What do you think it is? What do you think it is from a trading perspective? Why do you think that happened? We're probably already going to face some resistance here right now very soon, to be honest. Because we did break the lows, right? We did took out those lows right there. Let me see. Yeah, that low volume note right there, right? But yeah. I think I got greedy and I overtraded and we're patient enough. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, the amount of times as well that you hear me in my Telegram, right? Look at this, for example. I had these two beautiful trades right there, right? It was on we talked about this on the streams, right? We had the selling zone and the buying zone, remember? Daily resistance and that daily support, right? And I took these two beautiful trades right there, where I made around $3,000 on those trades. We talked about this on stream. And then I said, you know what? I'm done for the day. Close the trade in full, hitting some resistance here. Personally done for the day. Let New York do its manipulation. See you on the stream tomorrow. And don't forget to hit the gym. You know what I mean? So what's the lesson of that story? When you're done for the day, you're done for the day. You made your money, you get out, you enjoy life. This is why you're trading. You make your money, you get out. You're not making your money to trade more. Because the more you trade, the more you are statistically in a disadvantage. Right? Same thing here, right? I'm out after TP1, took what I could get. This was yesterday. Market is a bit all over the place. Dollar shooting up as well as gold. A sign for me to take the small win today and let the monthly candle come to an end. Overall, June has been a great month of trading. Done. That's it. You get in, you get out. You make your money. You say, you know what? I'm going to enjoy life. I'm going to hit the gym.
Bring the baseline back around again.
Lorenzo, 100% correct. I meant that June is usually a time for gold prices to drop. Aha. That's the truth, by the way. So what we're seeing is normal. As traders, we need to learn to buy and sell. Yes, that's true. That's definitely true. How to join the Discord? The Discord is closed, but we're probably going to open up very soon. Got a lot of messages as well for the people that want to join the elite, that want to join that our 6-week program. Okay, this is our 6-week program. This is what we do. We release this around once every 6 weeks. We release something like this as well here. Around 20 people are able to join every 6 weeks. Only for the guys that really want to, that are actually not beginners. Guys that are in trading for a while, that have been trying to trade for a while, that are definitely familiar, that understand the basics, have been trading, have been winning, have been losing, are kind of stuck in that loop where they are constantly break even, make a lot of money, lose it, make a lot of money, lose it, right? Lose a lot of money, come back, try again, right? So that loop, right? That vicious cycle. I think for those people who really want to take trading serious but are fully committed, I think this might be something for you to think of. This is for 20 people. We usually open for 3 or 4 days and then we close again for 6 weeks. And then you have the Telegram, YouTube, and the book, which is all, of course, for free. So, yeah, we'll share more information about this later on, but not today. We'll do this by the end of this week. Yeah, this is where you get access to the tools, the indicator, the order flow, the whole everything. Okay, well, we're making a pullback here a little bit, so that's good actually. The dollar is not breaking that resistance. The dollar is stuck in this range. You see that in the point of control, probably the very low point of control, the very low. Yeah. There we go. Very low. So dollar can break the very low right now. And gold's pulling back. So it's actually worth not forcing trades now, not trying to get in earlier. And try to trade that trend. Where did we close? We closed below, right? Yeah, we did close below it. Okay, perfect. Yeah, the VWAP is the hourly VWAP right there. That is going to be in an area of resistance. That is, roughly speaking, I think our zone. Slightly higher. Slightly higher. On the daily, we are, we have a long way to go, but that will be major resistance. Wow. If we can get there, that will be a tough one. But we have to go all the way back up then, I think. But we close in what, like an hour and a half, right? Yeah, this is where we're reacting here. Aha. Yeah, true. Reacting from this area indeed. So yeah, this is definitely a major zone that you have to watch. Regardless if you would pull back, it's definitely a zone where profit needs to be taken. Even just so mark it out already in case we get there, because I think it's going to be a very important level. There we go. Just marking it out, just already. There we go. Are trading bots designed for people with large amount of capital? Yes. Because you're gonna have usually with trading bots the situation where you have equity curves, right? Where you go up and you go down. And you go up. Most trading bots are designed to trade a specific system. And that means that they are going to like winning streaks and losing streaks. And that's completely normal. And for prolonged periods of time as well. But you should see it this way. They have a specific system that works in certain market conditions very well. And then in conditions where that does not apply, it doesn't work very well, right? So you have a lot of variance, okay? Now the goal with macro and long-term thinking of these bots is usually that these better conditions outperform the bad conditions in the long term. Now, we as humans would never be able to accept that, deal with that. Because imagine me losing for 6 weeks every day on stream. That would be very tough, very, very tough to deal with, right? With those bots, for example, doesn't really matter because they know that projected long-term, they're profitable. Do you also update your live trade on Telegram along with the YouTube live? Yeah, pretty much every trade that we talked about, every trade that you see here, that's pretty much all taken from the YouTube live, like all taken from the YouTube stream. And if it was not taken on the YouTube stream, we talked about it on the YouTube stream that this is what I would do later. So. Yeah, this is in the last 10 trading days, I think. So yeah, we talk about this all the time, of course. And sometimes I can't really predict when the move is happening, right? Because it could happen that the price is just not there now. And yeah, if we were now chasing shorts here at the bottom, then we would now be we would face a little bit difficulties. So I think it is fair to wait for the pullback now. I will have to be streaming earlier. I will have to be streaming at like 8:30. I say this all the time, but I have to. But then I work in the night and then it's like, oh. Yeah, the stream, but I need to be live already at least 20 minutes before 9. Yeah. For things like this, for example, I'm not sure if I would have taken this, to be honest, in this example, but still, you see that the volume comes in. That's what matters. Amjad, sir, you are our man. You never say anyone to like the stream. I see other streamers who say too many times to like the stream. You are just one who provide quality only. Shit, I forgot to tell you guys. You guys have to like the stream right now. I forgot it. I completely forgot about it. You are correct. Thank you for keeping me in the loop. I need that YouTube juice as well. Yeah, sir. Thank you. Completely forgot about it. The main thing why I marked out the zone below is just because we know that we are reacting from a pretty important level. So let's say price would come back, and let's say we get into our trade and it will play out. Let's say, then I know that this is the level that I have to take profits at, because it's gonna be a major level that we have to watch now. Around the 70, yeah, 72. So. Hi, how are you? Yeah, good, thank you. You are one of the most patient traders I've ever seen. Have you ever waited for entries but not hitting an entry point for the day? I had periods like that, of course, yeah. I have been. Imagine this. Imagine I'm waiting for an entry the whole day, and then I get hit and I get stopped out in 2 minutes. Imagine that one. I experienced that one too. Yes, sir. I experienced that too. Waiting for a setup the whole day, and then getting stopped out in 2 minutes. I've been there. I've been there. Nothing new to me. But hey, that's also part of the game, right? You ordered coffee or not? No? You want? What is your plan around the polls? Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yesterday I asked you guys in the Telegram group, what would you guys like to see in this channel, in this free channel, besides my trading journal, daily gold analysis post New York session, so before I go to bed, pretty much. Educational content, okay, or psychology talk. Let me see what you guys said. 687 of you guys said, I want daily gold analysis post New York, obviously. 393 of you smart asses said, that's good. Educational content, that's nice to see. That is nice to see. Motivation, psychology talk. Okay, that's good. We can do maybe both. I'm sorry. Maybe both. Yeah. I think it will be fine. Okay, we're pulling back. Yeah, if you guys are interested in joining the Telegram, this is definitely the moment to do so, because this is where you get updated about all my trades as well here. For example, if you missed yesterday's stream, or not yesterday's stream, but if you watched yesterday's stream, right, and we saw that we broke even yesterday on stream, we still had another zone, right, which was this selling zone. And when price got there, we did take a trade there, okay? And I did say I entered, okay? I still want you to do your own work, your own analysis too. And I also want you to just say, okay, I mark out the selling zone too, and just take some action yourself, right? But you have my verification that I entered that trade as well with proof. Okay, so everything is in there. And I think it's important for transparency reasons. I think it's important to also show my journal. It's actually my journal as well here. But there are going to be moments where the trade will not happen on stream, but it will happen off stream after. And yeah, you want to be updated for that, or at least want to know what's going on there. All right, we're pushing. What's the dollar doing? Dollar's dropping? No, dollar's holding. Wow. The dollar is holding a little bit here. Not much, but it's holding. Okay. I think we're gonna find some resistance very soon. Did you put your sell limit there? You want to watch it? I think I want to watch it today. Yeah. I think I want to watch it today. No sell limits now set. The main reason is because we are facing also, we're seeing a lot of buyers stepping in at the bottom. So I do want to watch it today. But I do like this area. I do like the zone, definitely. So no pullback, right? Or sorry, we do see a pullback. We are seeing a pullback. Yes. That's what we want to see. We do have to be a little bit more cautious with this one. Because if you use the volume profile here and we take it from the whole day, you can actually see that the most volume is between at the bottom right now. And usually what you want to see is you want to see the most volume being traded at the top. Okay, we don't see that. We're seeing the most volume is traded at the bottom. So that means that we could end up we're doing again something like this. Right, that we created some sort of range again or something in that manner, or yeah, just in general that we'll have a little bit of a fight here. It's probably not going to be as clean as like other setups that we have seen in the past right now, because of what we're seeing around here. A lot more volume traded at the bottom, but yeah, we'll pay attention to this. Yeah, we'll pay attention to this. Just because there's a lot of accumulation of orders at the bottom right now, it might be a little bit of a potential area where price could potentially, how do I say that? Where price could potentially find support again. So we have to watch this area right now. And that makes it also a little bit more interesting in case we do get there, right? That you have to be a bit more careful with like your trades, and you're holding on to trades and things like that, or taking profits. For the rest, still looking decent. We have a lot of interest around this area. Would you feel comfortable with buying? Maybe, to be honest. there is one exception right now, because if you see so much volume that's been traded at the bottom here, and price retraces back to the point of control and it's holding support, it's very tempting, right? To get into a quick bounce trade. We've done that before on stream. This is a setup we took before, exactly that. Maybe you guys remember it. We took a quick scalp buy and then a major sell-off after that. But this is it's a similar situation where we had that like that breakout and then the retracement and then the push up and then a larger push down again. It's very similar. But yeah, we have to watch this level as well. Counter trend. And we're seeing a lot of buyers stepping at the bottom as well here. So the longer we were holding up here, so what kind of changed a little bit now, to be honest, today, is the fact that the longer that we stayed here doing nothing, makes it more dangerous, pretty much. Okay, because the more volume has been traded here in this area, the more potential support that can be formed as well when we push up. And what could happen is that you get these like explosive moves, you know? So we have to be a bit careful right now. So I'm gonna wait for confirmation. See how price reacts here. The market has shifted a little bit since, let's say, like 30 minutes, 40 minutes ago. An hour ago, I would say. Because the sellers came in super aggressively. Okay. Now, it's cool that we're seeing the pullback right now. But a lot of stagnation here. And a lot of volume in this hourly candle here. With a lot more buyers at the bottom of the candle. So I think that we're now at the stage right now where we have to be a bit more cautious at the moment, to be honest. Yeah, we're kind of... what we wanted to see was breakdown, retest, sell continuation. Just cleaner moving. Price acting a bit better. I am going to watch the previous daily very low now, but I'm not going to enter with a limit order. Okay. I'm not going to enter with a limit order right now. This is one of those unique situations where I need to adapt a little bit. We know that we're in a higher time frame support. Like, that's not really the question here, because there are many cases where you break it on the lower time frame. You break out of the very low and you simply continue to sell off. But it's more about the actual confirmation now that we're seeing here, right? On the lower time frame. That's more what I'm looking at now. Okay. Yeah, let's see where we close the hourly candle, man. We're not far away from this now, right now. I think that's going to give me some clarity right now. The thing about this level is that right now, this is a beautiful selling zone. I'm still looking at this zone, by the way. So that zone is not going to disappear. But it's just that, like, we're really struggling here right now. Okay, we're hovering around here too long. We're staying here too long. We're not moving. Okay. And it's not about, oh, are we going to drop from here? It's more about we're moving in a way where I'm not really liking what I'm seeing. Because it's going to make it harder. Even if you get filled, let's say, and price breaks out and it plays out, it's going to make it harder to break it. To break this again. And that means that the target is no longer here, but then it is like, it becomes a smaller trade. And that's like, the risk to reward is going to be not as nice, not as clean anymore. So it's holding too much around current price, and therefore there's more volume traded. It becomes a bit of a problem, if that makes sense to you guys. We haven't seen that yet on the streams, I think, since we started. I don't think we have seen this since the last couple of weeks. Let me see. Nope. This is same range, same range. Push the buying trade.
All right, guys, gonna be live in
Yeah.
around 7 hours from now.
We did see this right here. We had something similar.
All right,
Yeah,
guys, gonna be live in.
We had something similar, but it was a very difficult trade as well. It was a very difficult trade. It took a really long time, and actually that caused me to miss out
All
on
right,
this
guys,
whole move.
gonna be live.
On this whole move to the downside because of the struggle here. And I made like $100 on that trade, and it was really bad. I could have made so much more. And then it came back, and then it sold off. Then we took a clean trade. But like we took the buy too. But like, yeah, I think we're in a little bit of a similar situation today. You know what? I think we have to be careful. So the higher time frame is in support. Well, we already know this by default already. That's not really a surprise. Like price is already breaking down. Like, it's not really that the higher time frame is bothering me too much. What I don't like is that we have been hovering around this level for too long. And if we break above this, then we would simply don't have enough room for the trade to breathe. That's the main concern. So yes, we could get into the setup. It could play out, but then we'll be finding support immediately. And that didn't happen before we marked out that zone. When we marked out that zone, it was simple, just like an expansion, a retracement, continuation type of scenario. We see this all the time, right? Very clean retracement and then continuation. But right now, the longer you are kind of hovering around here and then breaking out, you don't want to be in that trade. Okay. Yeah. I think that this is one of those rare instances where we have to kind of be cautious. Chat, why don't Lorenzo love me, man? Yo, it's all love, my friend. It's all love. Let me see what the chat is thinking here in this situation. I'll just explain my personality. I'm getting less confident. That's my personal opinion in the zone, and I'm tempted to not enter. Actually, what I'm planning to do is to wait, to look at that zone, to see how we develop in case we get there. But the longer we're here, and if we then break out, like the last thing that I want to see is that price, when it breaks out, that it flies. Yeah. Because there's a reason why we're just consolidating here. Yeah. Yeah. Also on the order flow right now, the 4 hour, you can see already that we are in a 4 hour zone. We have noticed that we are in that area. We're reacting from the zone, but we're not strong enough to give us a bullish indication yet. it's not bullish yet. Like this is not to me a buy, right? In order for me to be in order for me to be a buy, we really need to show some strength, an impulse move, and a retracement. Because this is not a buy yet. We're still not there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna do this to be honest today, guys. I'm gonna remove this. Don't take it personal. This is self-protection, okay? And this is where I feel that the market is shifting a little bit. The longer it's consolidating here, the less interesting this zone becomes. The riskier this zone becomes, the higher the chance that this will not succeed. And the bigger the chance we'll break our winning streak. Yeah. We'll do the analysis in a second here. Give me 1 second, baby. Can you yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, it's the first time that I actually see something like this in a long time. I'm just scrolling to see if I saw it before, but like, I think it was at the beginning. Yeah, it was something like this. I don't know, this was yeah, this one, similar. Yeah. Now these are fun. These are tricky trades. We know this. We have seen this a couple times before. Also in Telegram, you can see them. Let's see what the chat says. I'm going to read the chat first in a second right now. See what the chat has to say about this this area here. And let me see what you guys are saying. You guys are interesting to listen to as well here. Let's see. MS, do you think it might sell up here? Based on my strategy, we're already at sell zone. If you could look at the indicator on news, what would you rely on to constantly make money from the market? Volume, order flow confirmations, and retracements. Yes. We're not closing above the POC. Deja vu like yesterday. No, it's different from yesterday, that's for sure. It's different from yesterday. It's not the same structure as yesterday. Yeah. 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 Okay. So this is the thing. I think that this is the plan. If we would break out right now, this will become very risky because the fact that we have been hovering around here way too long, way too long. The problem with that is if you do that way too long here, right, and you create a range, look on the 1 minute time frame, right here, and you break out, that if this is then the manipulation, amazing setup, right? Beautiful trade. But there are many instances where it is accumulation, and eventually when you leave the zone, you shoot up in a rush and you break out, okay? And that's something that you want to avoid. You don't want to get into these type of setups that if you take an entry here, that you are in the middle of like a squeeze, right? And what I've noticed that is that, we saw that here too, by the way, right? It's different, but you get the point, right? You don't want to get involved when you are in the middle of a squeeze right now. And this is where this is how squeezes get created. Let's put it this way. This is how they get created. You start consolidating right above, below it. you impulse up, you squeeze, and then maybe it comes down eventually and sells off, but like you're already out of the trade, right? So it's better to either wait for confirmation, to let price get to that level, see how price reacts, or we have to re-break the lows. It sounds crazy, even when you think about this here, but it's actually not crazy. You re-break the lows again, and you look for the next impulse, and you buy, you sell lower. And it sounds weird that I'm saying this, but it's actually better because it just shows that support has been taken out and that there is room for price to go down again. And that's usually an indication of an invalidation of a squeeze or potential reaction to the upside right there. So I prefer to wait for either an extra confirmation lower and sell lower than to wait for the pullback and to potentially get squeezed out if you hold this support here, right? To be honest, it's a rare condition, but it's also the first of the month, the first day of the month. So I'm not going to be super excited yet until the monthly candle gets a little bit in its flow, you know, it gets developed. The monthly candle has just opened up. So that's probably what I'm going to look for, to be honest, guys. Okay. And, you know, our limit was actually very interesting immediately, but you have to reconsider. You can't just hope, right? You have to constantly analyze and say, if we're sticking here and we shoot up, that's a moment where I'm going to be cautious. Yeah. Yeah. If it's going to break the very low, then you'll probably try to push higher. And we'll probably head towards the... I'm not saying it's going to be easy to break the very low, by the way, just so you know. But we'll then head immediately to the 79. And what is the futures price? 92, so 15, 14 points, 13 points. So 13, 16. So our next resistance will be at... Which makes total sense, by the way. It will be the 16. Where is the 16? Yes. Is that this zone? Yes, exactly. Low volume note here. Right there. That is our next that's the next area. The next zone where I would still watch. This is major resistance. Like if price will be here, I will be much more willing to look for shorts. Yeah, also. Okay. Why there? Because if you look at yesterday's range, the most one was traded right there. You see the white line around the candle? This is a daily candle. This is the order flow. This is the daily candle. 29K, 27K. You see that? So a total amount of 40,000, roughly speaking, 56,000 contracts were traded just inside of that box. And the rest was pretty low volume in comparison, right? This happened the day before as well, the day before as well, right there. So this is that major selling zone. This is a major resistance. It's at 40.30 on futures, which is 40.16. 40.17 on spot. Now on the order, on the volume profile, you can see there's a gap there. Low volume note there. That is going to be a major zone. Okay. I'm going to mark them out as well here. And I'm going to set out all the levels and I'm going to share you all the scenarios right now and what I'm looking for in case we push up higher. But I'm not buying there. I will not buy when we break out. I will actually keep selling until that has been taken out, because that is the major zone, major area of resistance right now. We did close below this on the monthly, so that is the monthly resistance right there. Yeah, selling zone for sure at 17, selling zone at 4117, strong resistance, daily resistance, very important level. Yes. That zone, I keep on my chart for the next day until New York. I'll keep this zone on chart in case we could push up. Then we have this zone. This zone became interesting because the very low, right? We left the value area and this is where the value area is. So this is the range where you would expect some resistance as well here. I would say only with confirmation, but the longer we're there, the less confident I'm actually about this area right now. Okay? Because if you do come up, you're gonna find all that support here. And what's gonna happen? You're gonna tap into your zone, you're gonna get into short, you are in profit, and then price shoots up higher. And then it's gonna try to break it because you have traded so much volume here. Right? Okay. So look at the higher time frame. You think, oh, it's all bullish right now because we're at support, right? We are at a major higher time frame support zone. You need to start looking for buys, etc. For me, that can't be correct yet unless we do take out this area right here. Unless we really take out this zone. And that is that selling zone that we talked about, which is this area right here. Okay? If we can take out this area, then we'll be probably trying to go for the highs, which is probably going to be the highs all the way up there again, which leads you to the 4100. Okay, but that is that zone that needs to be taken out. And I think for me it will be selling until we either do this, so we either take out the lows and come back down again, or so we take out the lows, we find support again, right? Then I would do something like this. I would look for buys, or we break above this area that we talked about right there, and I look for buys. So we break above the point of control of the previous day, and I look for buys. Anything for now is still selling for me. We're still in a selling market. So let's take this to the 5-minute time frame. That is a major level, but you know, it's way too far for now. So you can't really think about it until it's there, right? Maybe New York does something like that or something, okay? But for me, if we break the lows and we pull back, that is a sign for me to target the lows completely, to target the previous daily lows, okay? So that is a level I will watch right here, previous daily lows. I'm gonna update you guys on Telegram for sure. Right there, previous daily lows. So that means price needs to break the lows, push, retrace, and I'll target the previous daily lows. That is definitely something I will be looking for if the lows again are able to be broken, because then we're dealing with a different situation. Then we're dealing with all the volume that has been traded right now here, which is a lot of volume. We're seeing this happening on the hourly especially. A lot of buyers fail, okay? That means that these buyers failing to push price higher. We re-break the lows, we retrace, and we sell off. That is the exact reason why that becomes very interesting. Buyers feel a lot of volume traded, and then I will be looking to sell like that, okay? We look to sell pretty much like that, where we target the previous daily lows. And then once the previous daily lows are taken out and we start to consolidate, yeah, then maybe I'm looking to see, okay, is there any retracement buy opportunity lower, right? But like for now, that will be considered a sell, breakdown, retracement, continuation, targeting the previous daily lows. It's still the better risk to reward setup because we would target the previous daily lows anyways. This was a selling zone. The more consolidation here, the more buying here, the harder it gets to get into sells against the opposite side now. Right? So I removed that selling zone from my side. I know how important previous daily very low is, but the actual price action is telling me that consolidation is a warning sign, right? It's kind of like a warning sign. So either price goes up, we look for sells again, okay? Or price breaks down, we look for sells again. If price breaks higher, we look for buys. If price takes out the lows, we look for buys. And if price breaks above the very low, is there a reason for us to go push higher? Yes, but you do have a small window of opportunity, right? But that's the last thing I want to think about for now. It's buying unless those lows are taken or unless we break above that strong resistance, which is sitting at this area right there, okay? I hope that makes sense, all right? And we don't always do this, by the way. I don't always change selling zones. It happened, I think, once. I only think it happened once in the last, like, 3 weeks. But this is a condition where you have to say, yo, you don't want to sell here if most of the volume is traded there. Let me know if this makes sense to you guys. Let me know in the chat. Type in a yes or something, so you guys are aware of what I'm saying here. The more tricky it's getting to sell at our zone initially. Yeah, again, it's the first of the month, so you have to be a bit more cautious anyways, to let the candle develop a little bit. But I mean, this would clearly invalidate everything that I just said, and means that sellers are still in control. All those buyers that entered got trapped, and then this is an easy sell in my opinion, to be honest, because that just shows us that we are, we're still not there, right? We're still not there, and we'll just face resistance inside of the zone. How do you know what level to choose? Well, that's actually very easy, because what you're gonna create if you break the lows is you have a range, and then the only thing that you have to do is you take the volume profile, okay, and you mark out the range until the breakout. You swipe it over the range, you have those levels, and then you look for the value area low. And that will become your entry. Now that level can shift. You don't know what level that's gonna be once you break down. Okay? But that's how you mark it out. That's your zone. And then you mark out a zone, a selling zone between the point of control and the very low. And that becomes your new selling zone. Right? And then you look for a short, you stop loss above the zone, and you target the previous daily lows. Right there. Right? That is what you target. Okay, but you need to use the volume profile for that in order to get there. Okay, so right now, give the market a little bit more time. That's my personal opinion. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give it a little bit more time to let the market develop and choose its side. I know we sold off earlier, but it's about the continuation of the London and New York session, right? Yeah. All that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to keep you guys updated in Telegram for this, because this is going to be a very important day. I can already see how this will determine also for the next coming days how important this is going to be. And yeah, we have to make sure that you guys are aware of this and updated, obviously. And what is my goal with this extra account, right? This additional account? I'm trying to get this up. That's it. I'm trying to double this every month, but I'm not setting clear targets of doubling, etc. But what I'm doing is consistency, man. Consistency, being adaptable to the market, picking the right entries, right trades, manage the trades well, knowing when to be aggressive, when to hold my trades, when not to hold my trades, where to take profit, when to take profit. Like, that is the game changer. Management is everything. We all know that. So I'm going to work on this a lot in July with you guys, obviously. And this is part of it. This is also part of it. Yes? It's part of the game. So mark out the previous daily lows at 39.42. Mark out the level, set a line there. It's going to be an important zone. Mark out the very low at the 3992. In case we break down, you guys know what I'm going to do. I'm going to short. And I'm going to target the previous daily lows. and then create like a huge selling zone, which is probably not even a certainty that we're going to get there. Okay, but I still want you to mark out that zone regardless, because if you get there, it will be very tough. Very, very hard, very hard resistance, higher type of resistance. Very hard to break right there. Okay. All right. Why don't you do the New York session? We have been trading New York session for years. For years. Is this account real? Of course it's real. Yes, and it's a side account. Okay, it's not a main account. It's a side account. It's a challenge account. It's not a funded account. It's a real live account. Okay. If you need proof of that, then we'll share this later on if you guys really want to see that. But it's we don't do anything fake here on this channel. I hope you already know that. Yes. Perfect. Okay. Anyways, guys, we'll keep you guys updated here in regards to what we're gonna do here. That selling zone. Again, before I see all the comments in the YouTube channel again under this video about that selling zone is invalidated. Okay, I'm not going to look at that selling zone right now. This is the reason why. All right, I'm not looking to sell here at the moment. Okay, if it does play out, it will be nasty, but I will not take it. I'm not taking it because the selling zone is invalidated for me now. Okay, all right. Anyways, guys, I'll keep you guys updated. I'm gonna post it in Telegram as always, in case something is happening. I'm looking to see if I can get involved or whatever the case may be. Maybe I'm sitting on my hands today. Who knows? We have to keep you guys in the loop, okay? And we'll go from there. But I will let you know anyways today, okay? Have a good rest of your day right now. Be cautious. Make sure, and this is one lesson I want to give you. If you want to make it as a trader, be as adaptable as possible. And don't be committed. Don't stick to your buys too aggressively. Be able to adapt whenever you feel it is needed to adapt. You will avoid a lot of losses, unnecessary losses. I can guarantee you that. Okay? Amazing, guys. Keep up the good work. And we're going to work on this together on when to not FOMO in. When to be more aggressive, when to FOMO in. Sometimes FOMO is good FOMO. There is good FOMO as well. But it depends on the situation. And how to deal with management, okay? If you now feel, maybe I'm holding on to my trades wherever I'm holding on to losses too much, but I'm also closing winners too early. Well, we're gonna talk about that later on the streams a lot more. And we'll do it this way, okay? One more time, big shout out to the elite. I'm gonna talk to you guys later in the London session today, okay? Looking forward to that. And I'll see you guys soon, okay? Join the Telegram and I'll text you guys in there. All right? Have an amazing rest of your session and be careful with the first day of the month. That's my suggestion to you. Okay? All right, my friends. Thank you. Take care. Much love. Have a nice day or a nice good night. And I'll do analysis later on. Yeah, peace. Much love, guys. Much love. See you guys later. Yes? Ciao.